Probably best that way.
Could be.
I used to get out here. And school to pull on to and then it's fine. What's the last one you used?
Last name.
Okay. The library.
One more minute, please, Jack. The buttons to load.
Somebody's you take the coat off, yeah. Feeling close.
No, I'm just trying
Once I get to starting,
go.
once I get to the temperature, I take it.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
The
yeah.
agenda comes.
Is the coat so you can filter?
Yes, yeah. You didn't know that, I don't know that. Sorry.
Yeah. I've nothing to do.
I'm just waiting for the sound.
For the works. I'd like to get the agenda, that's all.
Say welcome to all together. We'll start in 45 minutes.
Would anybody like a hard copy of the agenda? Then share? Yes, absolutely. Thank you. No, it can be shared. Okay. Okay. Anyone else like a hard copy? No? Okay, thank you. Okay, that's done.
Okay, so welcome everyone. Councillor Jeff Hart, I'm the town mayor. I'm here to chair a full meeting of the council on the 24th of February 2026. Before we start, just to say two positive things. First of all, last Wednesday we had the launch of the Town of Culture at the Annandale House, where about 80 people came. I think it went really successfully. People have told me that since the event. And yesterday, I don't know if you know about this, but we were invited by our MP to go to Parliament and take part in a Dorset Day, which is a big week with Dorset companies. And we were invited to go there to sort of talk about the town and culture and two bits and pieces, and probably sort of about 30 MPs. And, it was good, it's good. Wimborne on the map really, so those were two positive things. So I think you all know the drill. Please turn your mobile phones onto silent. If you want to, if you find it difficult to stand, you can't stand, you don't have to stand. And should we take apologies for absence?
Yeah, so I would receive apologies from councillor Quinn, work related, councillor Billington, on the private matter, and another one, sorry, from Compton. Councillor Richmond from the council matter, so it's 3 in total.
Okay, thank you. Any declaration of interest? Oh, I'm sorry. We proposed here, on second, all those in favour, separate apologies, thank you very much. Next declaration of interest. That's on Brown.
Yeah, I'm town crier and founding member of the Wimborne militia.
That's a partner.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm a member of Dorset Council.
Thank you. That's a Morgan.
In relation to item 10, I'm a member of the rugby club.
Okay. Younger than Robert. Any more declaration? Okay, so what I'm now going to do is there anybody from the public here who wants to raise an issue that's not to do with the issue about whatever? Thank you. So we'll get to item 10.1 on the agenda now, so we can discuss that. This really started with correspondence from Councillor Apple, who's here tonight at the meeting. But I think, first of all, we've had some recent correspondence like today, and I wonder if the town clerk can just talk us through it.
So as well as what was recorded on the appendix document, which was the initial correspondence from Councillor Atwell, there's also further correspondence come in. So we've had a letter from our MP, which I will put on the projector now. Please take your time to have a read of it. I hope everyone can see it. Just let me know if you'd like me to scroll down.
Yeah. Everyone?
And then I also had a letter from a resident, Clara Hughes. Clara, are you here today? She's not. Okay. Are you happy for me to read out Clara's letter?
Yeah.
So it's a copy that's been sent to us that went direct to the Tivoli. It was a disappointment that I learned that the Tivoli plans to host Katie Hopkins this summer. Even more so to see that it's already sold out. A very sad reflection of the community that is currently celebrating Dorset Town culture status. I understand that local councillor Jim Atwell has written to you, the Town Council, standard to raise in Dorset and our local MP. Whilst I respect that you're a registered charity running independently, please, it is an agenda item for discussion at the Minster Town Council meeting. Please note my concerns and we've also received concerns regarding this booking. We also sincerely Clara Hughes.
We also have a letter from the Tivoli.
So this came in this afternoon and I'll just pull it up.
Yeah, the first page was last.
Yes, sorry, I don't stand in law, that's where it's a good thing. Shall I scroll down? You can make it solid bigger. Really on the bottom line. All okay? Yeah?
Okay, so councillor Apple, you've had this session.
Yeah, so I kind of just wanted to raise a few things that concern me in particular, and I don't know if it was that, but things to do with public safety, charitable law compliance, and of course the reputational damage that this will have and the impact that it will have on Wimborne. I've mentioned particularly during a town of culture, but also it's not about censoring free speech. I'm absolutely for free speech, but this is somebody who has repeatedly said things that are incredibly offensive and have upset lots of people. And although I feel that it's right for people to be able to express their views, there's a difference between having the freedom to say what you want, but that when it conflicts with other people's right to be safe and secure and to be free from discrimination, I think we need to draw a line really. And we need to say what kinds of people are welcome in our community, which I think is all of us. And it certainly doesn't feel like that if I'm going to be walking around town on the 2nd of July, which I won't be, if I have to deal with people who are coming here to endorse a racist, essentially, and a bigot. I wouldn't want my children walking around in Wimborne on that day. And the impact of those words is like an infestation that is going to impact the mindset of so many people in this area. I feel it's really duplicitous to say that they had sent out this email to 5,000 plus people and it was sold out really quickly, and it's interesting that 3 months later we hear it. I have only heard about it because a resident emailed me to say that this was the case. I don't remember seeing any posters in the window of the Tivoli. I certainly don't remember seeing anything else there. And this comment about the fact that the people who have written in are not regular customers, it is absolutely irrelevant. I am a regular citizen of Wimborne. I have lived here for 22 years. It's irrelevant whether I pop to the Tivoli or not. I do, by the way, but I shan't be in the future if this is the kind of attitude that we're going to have. I think their response today to the local community and to me was literally just a one-sentence line saying, your comments have been duly noted. I think it treats us with absolute contempt. I'm furious about the way in which we've all been spoken to, and I feel that that is completely and utterly just unacceptable in terms of what they said there. This is a woman who's described migrants as cockroaches. She's used words like final solution in public commentary. She has taken the mick out of people who've got neurodiversity. She is repeatedly making sweeping derogatory remarks about all groups in society that basically do not fit what she thinks is acceptable. She's made remarks about Muslims, about refugees, things that are protected under the Equality Act. So I think irrespective of whether or not we believe in freedom of speech, we've also got to realise there is an Equality Act. And I know that at the moment it feels like it doesn't matter, that nobody's paying attention to it, but it matters to me. It should matter to everybody in this room when we've got people in our communities think it's okay to be continually disrespectful. So she has got this long-standing persona of just being vile and vicious towards minority groups, whatever shape or form those people take. So things that I'm particularly concerned about is, public safety and our sense of belonging. At the Town of Culture, we had three wonderful speakers, talking about what culture meant to them. And I was really moved, and it was absolutely beautiful, and it was inclusive. And that is what we should be sending out as a message about Wimborne. Not that this is a place that's going to say people like me, people who are wheelchair users, people who've got ADHD or autism, whatever group that they're in, that they're not welcome in Dorset and they're not welcome in Wimborne in particular. I would also wonder about, policing basically, because I would imagine on that day, we're looking at protests and counter protests, because it will be highly publicised that we've got that going on. We're going to need a police presence. Have they factored that in? Have they done a risk assessment that has thought about what the impact is going to be like in town on that particular day? Have we thought about the safeguarding of our communities, the people who work there actually, whatever the situation might be? So I just sort of think, I'm going to cut this a little bit short, because I feel like my mentor did kind of say what I really felt about it. But I think what I'd like Wimborne Council to do in terms of this, and I guess one, I would like for you to be able to sort of seek formal assurance from the Tivoli trustees that they have documented the risk. They've done an assessment thinking about how this might impact the local community. Have they done a police consultation thinking about what it might be like outside the Tivoli that day with protests or counter protests? I would like to request some kind of transparency on how the booking aligns with the charitable status in particular, because there are many, many rules about what it is a charity should or shouldn't be doing. And a lot of it is about whether or not individuals in particular who are controversial, what sort of impact that they might have in their local communities. And then sort of finally, although not finally, I could go on forever, I guess, when I'm thinking about what I want to say, is I think we also need to get them to show that they have done an equality impact assessment. How is this, what have they actually done? So they need to think about minority residents in the area and community cohesion. And what have they done about that? And how are they protecting individuals who may become targets of the people that are attending that show? I'm not saying Katie Hopkins herself is a personal risk to me, but there will be hundreds of people in there. I don't know what the capacity is actually, perhaps about 1,000 people.
450.
Right, who share that opinion. And then they're going to be out in our streets, in our pubs, having drinks before, maybe afterwards. Am I going to be safe? Is everybody in our community going to be safe? Have they done an equality impact assessment? And then thinking really about kind of our commitment to inclusion, safety and respect. So that is kind of where I'm at. Obviously, I'm really passionate about this, and I would have put something out if the Tivoli had genuinely advertised it out here. They sent an email to 5,000 people. Okay, I'm not on that mailing list, but I certainly didn't see it in their window, so I would imagine they knew that it was going to be quite controversial, or else they would have been advertising it there. So the fact that they haven't done that, to me, definitely duplicitous. And I think they should have been here sort of putting their case forward and answering the questions that we did put forward. I don't know if the council have been given a letter that I had sent to the Tivoli, but I had requested quite a number of different things, and all I got back was one sentence to say my comments have been duly noted. None of those things have been answered. I think it's absolutely appalling, and I really thank you all for giving us an opportunity to come here and talk to you about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments want to speak?
Yeah, I want to echo what Jimmy's saying without trying to repeating the sentiment, because I think she delivered it very, very effectively. And so I second everything that she's saying. And I do find it shocking that I wrote on the 26th of February to Tivoli, I am in their database. I believe these tickets were sold by Katie Hopkins Traffic and her fan base, who have been directed directly to the Tivoli to buy their tickets. I don't know how honest this is. In fact, I would question the makeup of the local residents. I'm not saying that they're not going to be local residents. All sorts of people live amongst us. They can write anything. It has been publicised very well in the local community. People have been shocked. I'm really irritated to be referred to as not even being on my database. I have lived in this town for 9 years, and I visited Tivoli every 2 months. they have my details, I have to pick up my tickets, I order them online. So, no, I didn't know Katie Hopkins was going to perform. She is a shock jock. She will always find an audience. She isn't going to perform to empty theatres. But this is a business answer. This is a business model. This has nothing to do with embracing diversity and culture, people's safety, people's well-being. You know, we didn't sign up for this. It's fabulous. They put dates, you know, each to their own. There's at least a hangover from his past where it's a different time, a different place. She's a reality star that keeps carving out niches for herself in and around the country, shocking and picking on people. I'm going to focus on the last 6 months. Her latest thing is to attack disabled people. Sometimes she's on videos on YouTube. Sometimes just doing mocks, how they make her gag. Naming the Gardener's World presenter Suki Head by name. So when she's not being racist, she's discriminating against disabled people. And yes, you will find an audience for that. That doesn't mean we should post it. The other thing I want to say is that I think it's the 25th, but certainly in September 25, so 6 months ago, she was on a march with Tommy Robinson. She visited him and requested to visit him in prison. That man is all over the ASD files. How far do we want to go and how inappropriate she is as a public figure? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any comments? Councillor Brown.
One thing that troubles me about this is that we've got the charity arm and we've got a business arm here. And the answers I think you've got are from the charity arm and they also encompass the business angle. And I think the point that's been made by the councillor is very apt that in terms of charity commission activity, this doesn't feel right to me. And the other aspect is we need to engage in the debate. Getting a one-line answer is not good enough.
Okay, so just to give context, me and the town clerk, we called them to be aware of that meeting, and that's why I said later. Councillor
Well,
Watts.
we did invite them to the meeting.
Councillor Watts.
Being one of the founding members of the Tivoli and getting the Tivoli for this of Wimborne Minster, might I add, not Wimborne. Wimborne is a district. I am thoroughly against this. I didn't know anything about it until the minutes came through. I didn't work hard down there, scrubbing floors, cleaning toilets and everything else to get this theatre back for it to be a political platform. I think this is an utter disgrace, and I'm just very concerned about what this will bring into the town. It's difficult to say. It could be thuggery, it could be anything, and I think it's going to be, could be hard for the police to police this.
Thanks very much. Councillor Hector.
So the Tivoli Theatre, when I was younger, did Duke of Edinburgh, and I completed my volunteering section at the Tivoli. And knowing this, it scares me greatly that there could be young minds there potentially also doing volunteering. And the Duke of Edinburgh has selected that as a safe place for people to do these acts. And of course, normally the case is that it is great for young minds, but to have a young, shapeable mind there, it does not sit with me well at all. And I don't think it sets a good tone. So overall, I do support everything that the residents and the council have raised. And it is very worrying. I do think we need to get a formal answer as to why this has gone on. I'm on the mailing list. I never saw anything.
Councillor Jekyll Watts.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. So I'm very much for freedom of speech, freedom of choice, and expression. The worry, I suppose, what's happening is there's a disregard to some of the committees that we say racism is part of what Kate does, but it does not stop there. So while they may well have the freedom to choose who they can book, what, as a public authority, what responsibilities under the equality delivery system to promote harmony within the community. We don't run the theatre, but I suspect that there will be a spill out in terms of community issues, especially the time of culture. What are we trying to promote as a council? We don't run the theatre, but I think we need to register our displeasure quite strongly. We are nearby. We have people where, we help to create the Tivoli. So we may not be able to stop what they're doing, but I worry about the public safety issues and affecting people who come from different minorities. We are promoting the town of culture to be an inclusive town for everyone. And this may not, while the freedom of choice is there, it may not land well with those people who come from different backgrounds. We want to be quite welcoming to those people, new people into Wimborne, or those who have been here for a long time. It may not feel, maybe that balance may need to be readjusted.
Councillor Morgan?
Yes, a terrible subject to be discussing. I share absolutely all of the concerns that have been discussed. I don't think there's anybody, there are very few people around this table or around the town who do not fit into one of those groups of people that she has spoken about, railed against. However, I have some difficulty here because of the freedom of expression. I think most people would have heard me say, you do not have the right to not be offended. Now let me explain that. Okay, so these people do have freedom of expression. They can say what they want, but that has consequence. The consequence here is for our streets on that night, for whatever protest might happen, for whatever policing might be required around that time. They do have the right to book who they want, and that person has the right to say what they want, but they also have to deal with the consequences of doing so. This, I think, will be terrible for Tivoli. Certainly not a place where I will intend to go in the future, and I will recommend to friends and family that they don't go either based on this. But I don't think we have the right to shut it down. I think we should be looking at expressing disappointment in what they're doing and ask them to review whether that's really the image they want to put out of themselves and of this town. But I don't think we can do anything stronger than that.
Thank you. Sergeant Payne, what was your name, comment?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, some of you don't know me, Sergeant Payne. I am Neighbourhood Police Team Sergeant covering Wimborne and Fernand. Quite regularly to be brief, don't I? Well, I'd say firstly, thank you for bringing that up, because I wasn't aware prior to bringing this incident up. They typically don't have to make the police aware of all their events. I normally find out from, we do several meetings there where we find out all the events, and I wasn't aware of this prior to this. So I have basically raised it to all our departments that need to know. We have an ops planning department. I regularly do safety advisory groups regarding events. So we do it about the folk festival, we do it about some of the big events that are on the outskirts, Wimborne bandana and things like that. I've also liaised with our protocol liaison officers. So we're there as a police, they will be putting something into place if this goes ahead. We'll allow people to protest peacefully, we'll allow people to counter protest. That's the most we can do. We can't, as a police officer, go, right, we're going to shut you down unless there is serious violence or potential for serious violence. So that's where we stand. I have my own opinions on not allowed to discuss because I'm a police officer, but yeah, that's where we'll come as police. There will be police if this goes ahead because we've raised it. You've raised it to us, so we're now aware, which is great. We weren't aware prior to the council bringing this up. So all I can say is we are aware of it. The police people that deal with all these events are now getting involved, so they will be in contact with Tivoli and say, this is what we want, this is going ahead, this is what we need from you, this is what we need, and there will probably have to be risk assessments taken from Tivoli. They don't normally, as far as I'm aware, have to do that to us unless it's a much bigger event.
Councillor Bartlett.
Thank you, Chairman. Undoubtedly, it's a difficult subject matter, as we all appreciate, and it's all too easy to remain silent at these times when these sort of things come before us. But silence is an answer. It does need to be confronted. Now, I'm a huge fan of British humour. I love British humour. I think we've got one of the greatest comedies and British humour that's in the world today. And it has been through history. So I like a lot of 1970s comedy and that sort of thing. And now when you turn on your TV, you get that box up on the top of the screen saying, content may offend, because we too easily forget past humour and we put it into present morals today. And it's not taken at the time of when it was done. And we see that through various things in life now. In terms of an individual like this, I agree, have a right to say what they want to say from freedom of speech, provided they remain within the law. And they push it to as far as they can. As said before, it's about shock value, which is what it goes for, which is what draws crowds in. But I would hope that there would be a police presence on the night that would be able to monitor as to whether or not they overstep the mark, because then that, as they said, comes with consequences, and that should meet with the full presence of the law if that situation occurs. I fully appreciate that Tivoli is an independent business within the market of theatre, which is a difficult market to be in at the moment. We all know with the cost of living and everything, it's difficult to fill seats, it's difficult to get bums on seats. I don't think that's an excuse for booking an act like this. You know, I think there's other things out there that they can fill their theatre with, but it's their choice. And it's something that we can't insist upon on who they book. And they will face the dilemmas of that, how this pans out in the future. I think it's also unfortunate it's come off the back of what we saw last year with the idiocy that swept this country around painting the George flag everywhere. Although some people paint the Swiss flag on roundabouts because it rains still long enough. But I think that just showed the mentality of some of the people that were involved in it. I firmly believe that as a multicultural society, the vast majority of the residents of this country embrace that multicultural society. I think it's a recognised fact that the ethnic minorities that have come into this country over centuries, it's nothing new, have brought additional wealth and culture and positiveness to this country, and I think that should be embraced. I say I wouldn't see an individual like this. I like comedy. I don't like anybody who's disparaging or attacks minority groups. I think to me it's abhorrent, but I can't impose what I believe on other people. There is a freedom of speech, but as I said, I would hope on the night police presence is there to make sure that she adheres to the laws within this country, and if she doesn't, then she will face the consequences. Thank you, Chairman.
So what I'm picking up universally is that most people are saying we disapprove, we're disappointed to look at you doing this. And the councillor here gave us a number of things to check out. This, we've had a statement from the police officer, and again, the councillor Nash.
Thanks. I'm not going to add much to what's already been said. I think it's a very sensible debate we've just had. I would just add that given the numbers that Sylvia have provided there, the 80% of the residents being local, the elephant in the room is that these people walk amongst us. There are people in this town who have these views, and it's abhorrent. However, look on the bright side. 4% of the population is going to be in that room watching this lady say those things, and it's only 4%. What we've got the opportunity to do over the next year and going forward is to change the minds of these people by showing them that diversity and equality is a beautiful thing. That's all I want to say.
Yes. Yes.
I would just say that I think that I hear what people are saying about Katie Hopkins. I just think that to be honest with you, I think we're drawing attention to it, something that really no one was particularly aware of. It's now been highlighted, which may contribute to causing a problem. However, I think that, culture is it's a very difficult thing because not everybody has the same views. And I think that it's not for us to start to censor views or whatever. I mean, it is sold out, so there are people obviously that want to pay money to listen to this lady. I I think we should just take a bit more of a grown-up view, not alarmist about it. Those words may come back to haunt me if there's a riot at night, but I would agree with Councillor Bartlett that it's really a matter for the Tivoli, not a really, we can express our disapproval, but I think that's as far as we can go, really. Okay. Yes,
Mine is, thank you, Chair. Mine is a question. Do they get any grant from Wimborne Town Council? Okay. Thank you.
Can I just add one word, that the people that work there, who will be the forerunners, and they will be in the absolute danger zone, if you like, are all volunteers. The only people that are paid are the Charlie drivers and the administrator. So, like I said, they are all volunteers, and if I was a volunteer, I wouldn't be volunteering.
I agree with everything that's been said, but at the end of the day, this is a Tivoli matter and it's a police matter. And the question is, do we as a council have a formal response, or do we just say, right, these things happen, we don't approve, we don't say nothing? As I said before, do we actually make a response to it or not?
I personally feel, they have written to me directly, somewhat about the event, so we have to write back, we have to say something, and I think what we should be doing is writing them and saying, we are disappointed, and can we just check that you prepared for this event carefully and put in those things like what you said, Councillor, and I think that's a useful thing.
I just want to pick up on Councillor Lashley's point. I think everything that's been said is correct. I think our approach is correct to writing and in the way that you've just outlined. But I really think that if there's anything that we can do to turn people, because we have a right as well to have freedom of speech, the town of culture, we really need to kind of go hard at about diversity and what it means to us in Wimborne for us to send our own message. So I'm with Councillor Nash. I don't think we should do something on the day because that could be seen as a problem from the police. Certainly something close by that time that is a bigger event. Celebrate might be quite a good message. Because as you said, it's Sunday. I'm not quite certain what we can do. Pick up Councillor Roberts' point on the volunteers. I totally agree. If I was a volunteer, I probably would not be there that evening, in which case it will cost, I would imagine, to buying people to work on that evening.
So can I propose that we respond to the Tivoli, we express our disappointment at this decision, we put in questions about have they made the right preparation, have they done things like a risk assessment, have they contacted the police, have they looked at the Equality Act and the ramifications of all that, and that comes from us, the Tivoli. Anyone want to second that? Councillor Wiley? Yes. All those in favour? Anybody against? Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. Okay, item 5. So, should we start off with the Dorset Police on pain? Updates on them?
First update you regarding a few issues in town. So unfortunately, we did have a major issue with shoplifting prior to Christmas. It seems to be rising again. Shoplifting in the past month, we went down to 3 in a month. We've gone up to 12. And I think this month we'll probably go up a bit more. Regarding that, recently arrested 3 people, including one who's been violent towards shop staff. Another's been summoned to court. Another man is currently wanted for probably about 12 thefts and we failed to appear at court. We're continuing all our foot patrols in the area, and hopefully you see more people out and about. We've had several assaults recently at one of the local public houses, which, to be honest, I viewed the CCTV at the body worn, and if it wasn't for the professionals that and the quality of the door staff at that pub, we probably would have had a few more people assaulted. It was a nasty group of individuals. As a result, we've identified 2 offenders regarding that. Unfortunately, investigation's still ongoing, they haven't been arrested at this time, but we're just getting safe with CCTV so we can run through that to arrest. Other than that, not really a huge amount to update. Yes, we've had a bit of damage, we've had some antisocial behaviour, but no more than we normally do. I just wanted to update on staffing. This week, I've got 2 new PCSOs that started. One started today, one started yesterday. One is Wimborne, one is Burwood. So dedicated to Wimborne, and as of the end of March, I've got 3 police officers that are designated straight for Wimborne that are starting by the end of March. Other than that, I haven't really got much more else to say, but I'm happy to answer questions, and I'm sure there will be a big question.
Councillor Nash.
Lovely to hear we're getting more police in, that's great. Just a very quick question, which pub was that?
Animal.
Say again?
Manning.
Right, thanks.
So yeah, the staff are very, very good. I've seen the body worn. There wasn't locals, but yeah, largely people.
I don't guess they're different. Councillor Checker.
Sure, thanks, Steve. I think the big outcome which we have not yet seen Steve last time was the arsonists to cause a lot of fires or went to prison.
Yeah.
I think that's a big plus. Whoever's have been waiting for that for a long time.
Well, like I say on that, and this is why come back on that. I know the CCTV is going to Dorchester. I don't know if it's happening.
Not quite, almost.
Not quite, it's going to Dorchester. But if it wasn't for that particular volunteer who probably spent 4 days volunteering to look through the CCTV and do stuff that I possibly couldn't have done and probably Dorchester couldn't have done, we wouldn't have got that conviction. So what I'm still trying to do is to keep pushing volunteers. The only issue I have is obviously we're working at Third House and there's not as many police officers in Wimborne working at all times. So it's a bit difficult to get volunteers to want to go into the police station, which predominantly in the evening is not very full.
One thing that was quite impressive because my colleagues taught was that the number of communications from your service to check them all right and show the victim support has been pretty good. Councillor.
Yeah, I just wanted to say your mobile police station that the van bring in has been a resounding success. I was a little bit sceptical when you talked about doing it, but I see it quite regularly because it's outside the cafe that I work at, and it's always got people a line of people in it, even when it was catastrophically raining.
And we parked it on the
I'm not going to say it. But it was literally coming down the sheets, and people were still getting in under the cover with umbrellas to sleep. So I think keep doing that. That was good, and being visible there is definitely a bonus for me.
Thank you very much.
Do I find it? I'm going to call fine that.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, in terms of the town manager report, this time, you also kind of printed out quite a handful of things. I won't go through them all, I'll just highlight 1 or 2. So Carrollsman Corn Market, what's interesting is that all the money collected used to go to the Minster. But the bandmaker come and said they didn't want it, they wanted to go to a charity as well. So we agreed that we would get half the money for the mayor's charities and the other half would go to the Minster. So that was development there. Charity collection went well. I went to Streets Meadow Residential Care Home, chat to them. I went across with the town crier to Weymouth.
Yeah, we went to the closing of the last event of Weymouth's Town of Culture, which was in the centre of town, and it was really good fun, and they looked after us. And then we met with the Portland Mayor and the Weymouth Mayor, because it was Weymouth and Portland, and a lot of people seem to forget that, including me. But it was a really nice event, and the hat that was handed to Jeff is a beauty to behold. And I want to see him wear it an awful lot this year.
This was that, and Matt, hat with a big seagull on it. Beyond in the swell in the museum. Okay, so that was good. I went to Hall and Woodhouse. They do a community chest, they give out £60,000 to local charities. Really impressive. We did an evening of song where we had 4 choirs, 200 people at the Unknown Community Centre recently, which was good. And Chris, do you want to say a word about the town trail that I know Wimborne doing?
Yeah, well, there are a number of them. I went on the charity shop town trail, which was very interesting. I mean, what amazed me, I said it before, sort of the level of commitment and volunteering in Wimborne, which reflects really well on our town. Actually, it's great to see so many people so committed. It's the first of a number of them. Actually, is it the first of a number of them? It's the first I've been on.
Yeah,
There's another one coming soon on the green plaques. But you know, Planet Wimborne really is quite an amazing group actually, of very dedicated people who really do add to the quality of our town, and actually also I think add to the quality of what the council does. In that they make a very clear, as I said before, they very clearly contribute to the plan. You know, so
Thank you.
that's what I do.
So I went to the pancake race, about 200 people there, and the winner overall, he took away a trophy, some cash and all the prize. I said, where are you from? He said, Oxford. I said, what are you there? He said, I work at the university, but I've come to see my mum today in Wimborne for the day, and she said, go and have a go at the pancake race. There you go. Okay, let's go around. So we'll start with Councillor Morgan. Anything you want to report about the bid or anything? No. Councillor Chair.
Thank you, Chair. We meet twice a month with the Wimborne Folk Festival as we prepare for the summer event. But also, I think about a month ago, maybe a few weeks ago, we met with Dorset Council to discuss the bus stop for Stone Lake at the top. There are further discussions there because it's quite an expensive venture. So they're getting quotations, which will probably need to come back here for further discussion. They're expecting some contributions if that is to go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Nash, nothing to report on, right?
Yes, I attended Wimborne Minster Town Culture launch last week, which was excellent. And also earlier attended a meeting of Citizens Advice, then tomorrow I'm with the Twin Association for the lawn. So.
They're all coming over here, aren't they?
Sorry?
They're all coming over here.
We've got them here, yes, in June, yeah.
Absolutely. Councillor Roberts.
The only 2 things I've got is Wimborne in Bloom, where the summer planting is going ahead well. Of course, we've lost quite a few individual baskets and things, and there are some in the town that haven't paid, which have been chased and chased and chased and still haven't paid. It's the Wimborne in Bloom quiz on the 6th, Friday the 6th of March. And the other thing is the visit garden, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah.
We had a meeting with just 2 of the volunteers. A very purposeful meeting. I don't know that we can meet the targets they want, but it is progressing. It's not going to be a quick fix because there's a lot of stuff out there that needs to be done. And having had this wet winter, we are just so far behind with everything. So, yeah, that's about it. But I am growing some marigolds.
Thanks very much, Councillor. Yeah, I met with Nigel from 1069 Squadron. They have a bit of an issue at the moment with their venue for practice or whatever it is that they do there. Insofar as there's certain regulations, it doesn't mean until they get those sorted. They can't get insurance, they can't have members there. They had a place in Ferndown, but they've been turned away from Ferndown. So
just been trying to find suitable venues around town to see if we can house them. But because they are MOD, there's quite a few stipulations on the areas that they can and cannot go into, and if the right certification isn't in those venues, then they can't go there. So just working on that with them, see if we can help them out.
Have they lost their venue?
No, they haven't lost it. I think it's to do with fire. I need to just double check, but it's to do with fire regulations. But the jump up in fire regulations, they don't meet those new regulations until they do. They can't do that. So they don't need a massive amount of space. They just need to be able to set up their flights in, and which is a series of computers and stuff like that. And obviously for about 10 to 12 cadets to kind of be around in that environment. So yeah.
Yes, thank you. The Walford Mill, as I'm sure you all know, has suffered quite a lot recently with the flooding. The cafe is back open, and can I encourage everybody to please go and support them? They lost a lot of money over that time, and they're lovely people, and it's really good food. And I think some of the exhibitions were thrown up, and of course we couldn't do the launch there, which I know everybody at Watford Mill was very disappointed about, but understood it. I think the flooding is clear now, but I guess what we need to do is, who's the flood officer? Yeah. Do we need to look at anything we can do to assist them? Is there anything we can do? I don't know.
Not really. I know they had applied for sandbags, but I don't think they ever got back to us. But that is not our problem, to be quite honest.
I have an action at the recent recreation measure providing some sandbags and possibly sand to that area, not just exclusively Watford Mill, but also the across the road there, the nursery area, which I haven't actioned yet. We do potentially have surplus sandbags to us, but as Councillor Roberts says, technically we're not obliged to, but if we can help out, I think is the words they use at DC on the website, and that's indeed an action from us.
Good, thank you.
Councillor James.
Nothing.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Councillor Hector.
Nothing majorly to report, but just to share the update with the data collection that took place on Wimborne Road to Cranbourne Road in order to get the crossing put in place. They put up a thing on the lamppost which was measuring car data. I thought it was going to measure people's crossing, but it was just for cars. That's been up a week and a half and it's disappeared. So they've got their data and we wait to see if we were lucky enough to move to the next steps.
Thank you.
Do you want my Dorset Council report?
Sorry, I should have that before.
Nothing else. Thank you, Chairman. Okay, so on the 10th of this month, Dorset Council, in its full council meeting, had its budget meeting, and I'm glad to say we adopted its budget. So the budget is a net 482.6 million for 2026-27. It's an increase of 18.9 million from the 2025-26 budget. The rising service delivery of 37 million will be addressed through 18 million of savings, efficiencies, grants and additional income, and 18.9 million predominantly will be raised through council tax. Dorset Council is on the unfortunate position that 83% plus of its income is derived from council tax, which is disproportionate to much of the rest of the country. 29 million income in costs for adults, housing and children's services, and a band council tax figure of £2,205.90, an increase of 4.9904%. Increased budgets additions where the adults is 12 million, children 5 million, growth for settled adulthood 1.8 million, highways potentially is 50 million from police services, an extra 300,000 and an extra 5 million. Most of that due to the adverse weather conditions that we've received just lately. There's also going to be £250,000 for a dedicated gully clearing team due to the recent weather, as you'll appreciate with the amount of rainfall that we've had. the debris would have been washed into the gullies will need to be cleared now. If I just move on to potholes, the repair depends on weather conditions and the size of the pothole and on what class of road it's on. And I think I sent an email to the deputy clerk around that, which you can circulate to all the members to give members an understanding. So if you're stopped in the street, you hopefully be able to give some sort of answer to the public. There's been an extensive damage to the road infrastructure within Dorset due to the rainfall. And it's important messaging to get out to the public that these aren't going to get fixed overnight. The damage has been just too much, it's too great, it's too extensive across the county. And the reason that we need to wait for dry weather is because we can't get that bombed if potholes are wet. It needs dry weather to do it. On major A roads where there are significant damage, those potholes will have a temporary filling, obviously, because we don't want to create a life-threatening situation. I instructed officers to do a Regulation 19 water and flood investigation. So this is a requirement we can do from government to undertake work where Dorset Council gets into a conversation with its partners and its stakeholders, how they acted, what was in place, whether everything was done correctly that should have been during the unprecedented weather that we've had. And it's been quite horrendous, actually. There was a situation where school transport was stopped on one day because Dorset Council, like council authorities, is dependent on the Environment Agency forecasting where flooding will take place. And to give you an idea of how bad it was, we got to the point where the Environment Agency could not advise Dorset Council where the flooding would occur because everything was off the scale. So normally they can monitor it and pattern it and they know where that flooding is going to take place. We were completely off the scale. So there was one point where we had to stop stop school transport because there was a significant risk to life. Local plan updates, the work and the consultation that you all saw back in the summer, that work is still progressing. However, there's a requirement by government to relook at the NPPF, and it's under consultation at the moment. This is somewhat disappointing because it's causing concern to statutory planning authorities like Dorset Council in delivering its local plan within the time frame that we're envisaging to do so, because this work is going on in the background. And finally, Dorset Council and the APTC met with, I think it was the APTC before Christmas, with Wells from Dorset Council, to deliver a piece of work, the APTC to deliver a piece of work working with town and parish councils to get a better understanding of the situation regarding resilience plans and Dorset. And this was work we started before this bad weather come in. It's just, you know, if we'd been a year ahead, we'd been better, but we didn't know what was coming. And I think it's worth also saying that you heard talk about a 1 in 100 year, 1 in 1,000 weather pattern. The view that we're being revised on now is that what we've just experienced is a 1 in 10 pattern.
Can I just make a comment, just to give some perspective? If one goes down Poole Road, next to the telephone exchange is an accountant's office. And on the accountant's office, you will see about this high, a white line drawn on the wall. And that white line was drawn in 1920. And that was drawn by a chap called Mr. Top. Now, I know this because Mr. Top told me this in about 1973. He was very old then, but that was the level of the floodwater in 1920. So I'm not criticising anything, but just to give us perspective where it's been worse. Let's put it that way.
Councillor Bartlett, in response.
Yeah, sorry, Councillor Slade, I don't think that's quite right. I think it was 1979 because in the 1990s. No. I stand to be corrected.
Because he told me that before 1979. It was never that deep in 1979 because I remember.
You said
1920. He told me.
Beg your pardon. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sorry.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And at that time, it got up to the back gardens. The back doors of St Catherine's.
Yeah.
I misheard you. Yeah.
No.
Okay, Chance. No talk.
Sorry, Ward Councillor, Dorset Ward Councillor David Vaughan sends apologies. We'd like to read out a couple of things. Judith Rose, the traffic light trial in Green English Heritage is going ahead from late May to early, he's written July, but I think he means June. However, your Dorset Ward councillors are against this being a long-term solution due to the long-term impact it can have on traffic movements in the area. Still awaiting the results of the survey was done in relation to my dentist crossing. And then councillor, he understands that the legal paper for all homes is now with Dorset legal team in relation to the allotments at all homes.
And if you want to say about it?
No, that's fine.
Okay, right, item 6 is full council minutes, 27th of January, 2026. Any comments on those? Okay, Councillor Morgan.
Couple of typos in there, but
Can you just point them out? I'll do it now. So,
Liaison seems to have this extra letter under 104.
Well, remember.
Make notes of this stuff. I read it.
Okay, so.
And there is under item 108, we put the word trial where I believe it should be trail.
Trail.
Top marks for going through the e-paper, well done. You will propose to accept those?
Yes, as long as those things are changed.
Okay, and your seconding, Councillor Nash? No? Yes? Okay, all those in favour of those, it's being accepted. Right, everybody? Any abstentions? Okay, and then item 7, committee minutes and working group notes. So planning environment, finance and governance, town of Cornwall steering group. Just a note. Any comments on any of those? Councillor Brown?
yeah, Town of Culture Steering Group. This fits in very much really with some of the discussion we had at the beginning of today. I do recall, and I can't find it in the minutes and I might be wrong, but I do recall offering, and it was accepted, that I would sort of draw up some issues and debate, but guidelines perhaps on inclusion regarding the town culture. And of course, we've heard this is quite important to a lot of people. So it doesn't appear to be in there, and Councillor Chakawata and I have met to discuss this, and we formulated a plan, and Lou has helped us with looking at some of the potential models that we could use. The thing that alarmed me, in fact, you said it earlier, actually, Chairman, was that you went up to the House of Parliament yesterday. You took up Alex Compiani, and he phoned me later that day and said he asked why Chris Brown hadn't been invited. And the answer, if this is correct, was that because people realised that it would be too much for me. Now, one of the things we've got to get right here, and we should do it straight away, if I may urge, is that when you are talking about somebody's disability, you talk to them, you don't make assumptions. And I must say, I'm completely upset about this. I find it to be insulting, to be honest. And I don't wish to make a bigger meal of it, but it does highlight, and particularly with the visitors we had today, it does highlight that there is a dysfunction, there's something not joined up here, and I would very happily like to work towards us doing joined up.
Good. And thanks very much for all the work you've done on that. Thanks to this. Any comments? Councillor Chakawata.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for sharing, Chris. I think a part of our discussion, we're just thinking, what legacy do we want to leave for the town of culture? And I think being inclusive is really critical. And inclusion is not initial color, it's really accepting people who look, speak, are just very different. So there's what is called cognitive and visibility difference. We make better decisions if we think differently. And I think we probably just warm on what is physical, what looks, what we are seeing, but there's neurodiversity, there's much more in terms of differences. So I'm sorry that happened, Chris, but the key thing is how can we learn and we challenge each other in terms of some of our language, but also are we as inclusive and as welcoming as I think we should we'll become stronger for it. It's not a threat. We'll become stronger as a town. Now, I like your point in terms of only 4% may be attending the Tivoli, but the rest of them are not. So that's where we might want to focus going forward. That's my contribution.
Thank you. Councillor Morgan.
I was going to move on to one of the other the minutes that's underneath this item. It says on the agenda that we're signing off or noting planning and environment 27th of January, at least in my documents. But the one that was in the documents was 6th of January, which we signed off at the last meeting.
I feel the one has to be added to the next one.
Okay, so we need to defer that one.
Okay, so we'll do those. Recommendations, item 8. Council Standing Committee moves to consider the finance and governance committee recommendation to approve the asset register. Councillor Nash, do you want to say a word?
Yep, there's an asset register, have a look at it, it's all our assets, it's been updated. And finance and governance had a good old scan through it and we're pretty happy. So we approve this message.
Do you want to propose?
I would love to propose that we accept this as full council. Yeah.
Seconded by Councillor Morgan, all in favour? Any much? Any against? Okay, on to item 9, which is the Wimborne Cemetery. You want to say a word?
Just to know we have to report on something.
Anything on that?
That's really good.
Good. Okay, item 10, correspondence, we dealt with item 1, the request regarding Wimborne Rugby Club. Do you want to say words?
I've got it on the screen. In my view, it's very straightforward.
Yeah.
Can I ask, Chairman, how much longer we've got on the lease?
20 years at least.
Okay, so, what are we going to, sorry?
That we agree to the request from the solicitors that are acting on behalf of the trustees from the Rugby Club that we amend.
Is there any, thinking about the lease, is there anything that any advice from our solicitor that we should get before we accept this?
No, it's straightforward.
But they approve it.
Yeah.
Then I'm happy to refer to the
Councillor Nash, do you want to speak?
Yeah, just ever so quickly, they do mention that either we do this work or they do this work, this proposal that they do this work.
Yeah, they do the work.
Yes, good, yes, thank you.
Councillor Barker.
Yeah, Chair, can I have clarification? When you took amend, is it just to amend the names that appear on the lease, is that what we're saying?
Just want to read exactly what it says. So they want to transfer it, it's become a limited, incorporated into a limited company, so they don't have to transfer these from trustee to trustee.
So it takes away the personal responsibility.
Stupid question, but it's better to actually ask it. In terms of ownership of the land still remains in the town council, I know the answer is going to be yes, but I just want a clarification on that.
Yes.
At least we're not interfering with that. Thank you.
So I'm happy to like the code to be that they do work.
And second though, Councillor Brown, all in favour? The against or abstaining? Abstaining. Okay, and then 10.3. Consider a response from Dorset Council Executive Director of Place, James Britton.
So just a bit about what you remember, we got asked to look at a template for they call it a town market. Well, it came under the disguise of a town market code strategy. It's a template, and it went to the planning environment committee and then to us. And I was asked to write to the new CEO at Dorset Council to say, will you consider actually putting together a coastal and market town strategy? which is the document that was referred to quite a while ago. So the response is, as you can see, that it was, Catherine passed it on to Jan Reddy, who's the Executive Director of Place, Dorset, and his letter just reinforces the process we're going through the Labour plan, which you've been appointed.
Okay, so just noting that. The comments? Okay, so future meeting dates are there. If you've got any motions for the next meeting, please contact us at the time. We're finishing at 8.